Yeah. hmm the Job Corps, yes. Work training programs, work study programs, yeah. All of these anti-poverty programs are designed to help people. Yeah. hmm And when we were living on Guam, yeah, there was a couple that was staying at the Tamuning Plaza, and they were in the Peace Corps. Yes. hmm And I just wanted to look through the last 50 years of the Peace Corps. Yes. hmm And then there's the AmeriCorps. Yes. The National Organization for Helping Cities and Counties. Yeah. Then there's the Washington State Conservation Corps. Yeah. Why don't you give me all the individuals that did think that volunteering was something of importance? Yes. Now, I volunteered, yes, to feed my family. Oh, and when I informed you of fraud, yes, you decided to say that I was a domestic abuser, yeah, child abuser, that I had assaulted my wife, yeah, and then you issued a court order that required a mental health evaluation, yes. Now, there's this idea of a spouse that really doesn't take into consideration what is best for the children. Yes. Let's say that my wife wanted me on lithium. And because of the false arrest and the false accusation on Guam, yes, she had me put in jail for 10 days. And then I had a drug and alcohol evaluation. I don't use any drugs or alcohol, and I hadn't for 20 years at the time of that evaluation. And I realized we went through a foreclosure. Yes. But that doesn't mean that I didn't feed my family. It means that I did feed my family. Yes. Well, when you think of the effect of any lithium product, the psychotropic and antipsychotic medications, it really lobotomizes, yes, the spouse that you want to get rid of. Oh. Now, this durable power of attorney that was used for you to issue the protection order on July 8th of 2011, yes, based upon the false accusation of domestic violence and child abuse, yeah, I would say that my wife wanted to take my personality, yes, without any consideration of how these pharmaceuticals affect the actual individual. Now, there's the possibility, yes, of a large lawsuit involving any judiciary, yes, that doesn't have jurisdiction or doesn't have an accusation from law enforcement of the validity of the domestic violence. Yes. There was no 911 phone call to the state of Washington. Yes. In fact, emergency services. Yes. Could you get me the 911? When we think about telephone systems, yes, and infrared, well, it doesn't take a whole lot of infrared to really sew in so you can be on them, law enforcement. Now, I know your thought was, well, we just have to do this. Yes. But for every dissolution of marriage, yes, in all the protection orders, yes, where the individual known as the civil matter petitioner, yes, that indigent individual that's illiterate, what are they again? Oh, powers, work study, needy children, low income, uh, mm, unemployed, yes, on welfare. That you as a court said, well, we're going to do the mental health evaluation based upon the false accusation of domestic violence and child abuse. Yes. And we're going to deprive you of your right to visitation or custody of your sons. Yes. Because your spouse wants to take your brains. So when I look at George Soros, yes, there are a lot of satellites up there. And I know as a billionaire, he probably bought a few of them. Yes, he did. But when I look at the electric grid and the use of the telephone, and then that 911 phone call, yes, a lot of police and sheriff's departments are like, well, why don't you call us on the emergency telephone call, the 911? Yep. Reporting kidnapping, child abuse, child neglect, fraud, conspiracy. Right now. Why don't you get me the 911? Hmm. And then that telephone system that if you called it, yes, it could be the George Soros